Hello, may the 4th be with you today. Today I want to do a video on frozen shoulder or adhesive capsulitis. And the reason I want to do this video is for Jody because she has the precursors of it and I want to show her some things that she can start doing to essentially get this knocked out so it doesn't keep progressing and get worse. First of all, let's talk about what frozen shoulder is because it can be kind of a misnomer. So frozen shoulder, aka adhesive capsulitis, doesn't always mean that the capsule itself has gotten adhesed or is super tight. Some people just say if you have decreased range of motion and decreased strength in the shoulder, boom, you have frozen shoulder. So it's kind of a blanket term that really just encompasses a loss of strength, rotator cuff strength in particular of your shoulder, and then a loss of range of motion, both active and passive. So it creates this capsular pattern of the shoulder to where if you try to raise your arm, you can't bring it back too far, then you want to start using other muscles to compensate. And there are varying degrees of it, but if it's not addressed early on, it can absolutely get worse, and then it takes a lot longer to get rid of it. So today I want to share 5 things that you can start doing in order to get that better. All right, so number 1, I want to address the range of motion issue. So we're going to first do internal and external range of motion in an active fashion. So what that means is we're not going to do these really long stretches, but it's going to be actually moving. So what that does versus just holding in a stretch, if you're actually moving the joint, it's going to bring in synovial fluid into that synovial joint. And the synovial fluid is like oil to the Tin Man. You get a little bit in there and it loosens things up significantly. So we need a lot of repetitions of this to get that synovial fluid to start flowing, and we also need active motion. If you just hold into the stretch, it's not necessarily a bad thing to hold a stretch, but it's not going to give you the best bang for your buck when it comes to frozen shoulder. So you want to lay on the side that you have your shoulder issue in. You're going to lay right on that side. You can do this on a bed. Just so you can have more support here. And you're going to actively move inside. See, I don't have a whole lot of internal range of motion. You might be able to go more than I can here. So you're going to go in and then out. In and out. And you can use the other arm to assist a little bit. So since I don't have a lot of range of motion this way, I like to use my left arm to pull down a little bit, hold for just about 5 seconds, then bring it back out. So you can do this back and forth 50 times each direction. So essentially counting to 100 every time you move that shoulder. Okay? All right, so number 2 is to gain some more overhead flexion back. So for this one, you can use a dowel or a PVC pipe or a broomstick, just something to hold on to help go overhead. And that's going to allow your unaffected arm to help move your opposite arm to get a little bit further. So you can do this on your bed, wherever. You're going to lay on your back. And then palms are going to go just a little bit past your shoulder width. And you're going to then go overhead as far as you can with no more than like a 3 to 4 out of 10 on the pain scale. So it might bother a little bit, but it shouldn't be excruciating by any means. You're going to go back as far as you can and then bring it back forward. All the while, you're thinking about loosening that joint and just bringing in some motion there. So if you're starting to go back and you're only about here before you start getting past a 4 out of 10, then don't go any further than that. Start there. And then as it starts to loosen up after a few reps, you can start going back a little bit further each time. Just a little bit further. And if this is too short, if this is too narrow, you can always widen to start. And then again, as it becomes a little easier, you can bring it back in. So this one also at least 50 repetitions. But if you get to 50 and you're like, is this feeling good? My shoulder's starting to loosen up. Do more. That's not going to be a bad thing. Our next one, number 3, is rotator cuff activation. Actually, number 3, 4, and 5 are all rotator cuff muscles that we're trying to get activated to help move your shoulder a little better and help loosen things up. So if you have bands at home, this stuff is really cheap. You can get on Amazon. I think Amazon still has it through all of the craziness with COVID-19. But you want to grab band. So I tied them 2 different ways. One we just got a straight one, and one is tied for the both 3 and 4 that we're working towards. So first one, we're going to be targeting your infraspinatus. So that muscle does external rotation. It also helps stabilize your shoulder when you're overhead. So we're targeting right back through here. So where I don't want you to feel this is back here. That's going to be your rhomboids you're activating. If you're doing this so much that you feel it there, that means you're bringing your shoulder blade with you, whereas we're trying to target specifically right at that glenohumeral joint, right at the shoulder joint. So I don't want your whole shoulder to move with you. It's just this motion here. So you're going to hold just like this. So if I'm treating my right side, the left one's just going to be there to hold the band. It's not going to be doing anything. Then the right one is going to come out. You want to imagine that the ball of your ball and socket joint is rotating like this, right? So we start here, we're going to rotate it this way. So you're going to bring it out. You can hold for a second, and then bring it back in, and repeat. So each time, you're really thinking about squeezing the back area of your shoulder and trying to initiate the movement with the back area of your shoulder. There's going to be other muscles trying to fire, trying to keep them coming. Just keep doing it. You're going to start feeling that infraspinatus light up. So again, 50 reps here. And so you can go until it gets kind of tired, rest, and then finish them out. So not a particular amount of sets to get to that 50, but you want at least 50 reps there. All right, so number 4, we're going to work another rotator cuff muscle called your subscapularis. So that one, you'll want the loopy band. So for this one, you want to take the knotted area, you want to put it on the other side of a door and wrap it around the handle. Give it a tug, make sure that's good. Then you're going to close that door, give it a pull, make sure it's not going to come back at you, okay? All right, so from there, we're going to use that the affected arm should be the one closest to the wall. You're going to keep the elbow close by. You're going to try to squeeze from kind of underneath your armpit, and you're going to try to move into internal rotation, which is coming here towards your chest. And then bringing it back out. So as you do this, you want to make sure, so the elbow is staying pretty much in the same position, right? Because we're trying to do rotation. It's not this, okay? That is not what this is about. That's a lot of other different muscles that are working. We're trying to isolate the rotator cuff muscle. So here, rotate from the elbow and back in. Again, 50 repetitions. You can do these also as a cycle. You do 10 of the external rotation and then 10 of the internal and then go back and forth. Kind of up to you, but 50 total. So now we're on to number 5. This is for your supraspinatus muscle. So it helps bring your arm up. So with frozen shoulder, it can tend to be where you can't actually keep your arm in this nice straight line. And the arm will want to eventually, it can do that at some point, but then it always wants to do this, right? So then when you go overhead, it's actually not the motion we're trying to get. So we want to take your band, the one that's not in a loop. Thumb is going to be facing up towards the ceiling. So if I'm treating this side, thumb up towards the ceiling, this one's going to be my stabilizer. It's just going to hold. I'm going to squeeze the shoulders back, nice good posture. And then you're just going to raise this up and back down. I don't want you to go super high because I want you to keep in a straight line. So from the side, should be just in a straight line. We're keeping it underneath a 90-degree angle here. And really trying to feel it right up into this muscle here. What I don't want to see is as you're raising that you get to a point and want to start shrugging, okay? That's not it. That's not the muscle we're trying to get. So shoulders are back and you're squeezing from that muscle without shrugging the shoulders. I want you to keep tension on the band too. So I don't want you to bring the band in and get it all like this, right? There should be a constant stretch as you are doing your whole set. And what do you know it? We're gonna go 50 reps again. So also that band not going limp like this, that goes for all of the band exercises. So keep that tension moving in the band the whole time. So after you do 50 of these, 50 of these ones that we just went through, I want you to ditch the band and then palm up towards the ceiling, doing the same thing, but now going a little higher. And the whole time you go, you're trying to think about that shoulder, that ball in the socket rotating underneath. That way as you bring it up, it's this nice smooth transition instead of getting stuck and starting to do this motion. So only go as high as you can, keeping the shoulder in your midline, okay? It shouldn't get to this point. Also watch what your back is doing. So if you get to here and you feel like you can't really go back any further with your shoulder, I don't want you to do this just to accomplish the motion. See how my back's starting to arch? You want to still keep the back in the same position. So if you can only get this far, just go that far. You don't have to go all the way up if your shoulder won't get there by itself. All right, so that's frozen shoulder in a nutshell and how to treat it. So give it at least 2 to 3 weeks doing these daily, every single day, and see how the shoulder feels. It should feel a lot better even after just going through that whole series. But doing this daily and being consistent, that's what's gonna help keep this at bay and help get that range of motion and strength back. So please ask me any questions you have here. So just let me know.